Welcome to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum here in Prescott, Arizona. My special guest today is Mercy Clark with Gingerly Catered, a favorite catering operation here in Prescott, Arizona. Mercy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. We met, about a year and a half ago, and you've been doing some catering here at the museum for 2.5 years?
Yeah, I believe I started, about 2.5 years ago. I do a lot of your Twilight Tales and some of your other major events, and I enjoy doing it. I love the property.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you got into the catering business as well as how you landed here in Prescott. Is this your hometown or are you a new resident? Tell us a little bit about how you came to be an entrepreneur here in Prescott, Arizona.
Yeah, so I landed in Prescott, Arizona in 2014. I originally came here from South Florida. That's where I was raised. I was born in Athens, Georgia, so a little bit all over the place.
Sure. College town.
Yeah.
Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs, exactly. And so I moved out to California from Florida. I didn't stay there for very long, maybe about 4 months or so, and then that's when I kind of backtracked here. I had friends from Florida here. That's how I landed here. And the initial plan was to find a job, make a couple dollars, and head back east. And obviously, I'm still here in 2026. So.
Right. So 12 years ago, you found yourself, and you grew up on the East Coast, on the Southeast Coast between Georgia and Florida.
Correct.
And did your parents move you to Florida as a girl? Or how did you find yourself to Florida from Athens, Georgia?
I was moved to Florida at a very young age, maybe months old.
Okay, all right.
That's where the majority of my family was living at the time, and my mom moved me almost immediately. She says she didn't want me to have the Georgia accent. So I'm grateful I grew up in Florida. I love the ocean, and I did all the ocean activities, so it was a great...
What part of that beautiful state did you grow up in?
I grew up in Stuart, Florida, actually.
Hey, how about that? And the right spelling, too.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, some friends of ours had traveled across the country and sent a postcard back from Stuart, Florida. And my sister was there recently, and it's like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great little town. Of course, just like anywhere else, it's kind of expanded a lot. But
right. Now, is that on the southeastern coast, on the Atlantic side of Florida?
Correct. Yeah, it's I would say it's smack dab in the middle of Orlando and Miami.
Okay,
so.
Right. Sounds good. So you can go either direction.
Yep.
Disney World to the north,
yep.
The beaches in Miami, and the Key West to the south. What a great childhood it sounds like. And so, do you miss the beach and the humidity and the ocean air of Florida?
I miss the ocean occasionally. I did grow up, one of my first jobs was a dive store. Mm-hmm. So I was able to obtain my rescue diver's license, and I did a lot of diving, a lot of fishing, that sort of thing.
It's a big deal.
So as far as that's concerned, I do miss it. But if I'm going to trade the ocean in for anything, then the mountains are a good transition.
Right.
So.
Now, if I remember correctly, my sister was living in Orlando early 2000s. So did you get to experience that one summer where there was, I think, 3 hurricanes that crisscrossed the state in 2006 or 2005?
I forget what year exactly it was, but I do remember being out of school a long time, and they actually reformed how the school year would be in the case that happened ever again. So I enjoyed being off all that time, but...
So it's kind of like the states that have lots of snow have to have snow policies. Down in Florida now, they've got some good hurricane policies.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So did you always think about, California, obviously there's a lot of people that grew up on the West Coast and say, I'm going to go to New York, or I'm going to go to Georgia, I'm going to go to the East Coast. Growing up on the East Coast, obviously you had a dream of going to California. Did you have a dream of being in food service, of being in the culinary arts, or maybe you caught that bug out there fishing and catching, where did that interest in cooking and being in the service industry start?
It's funny. When I was a child, I always envisioned having a restaurant. In fact, I used to make up these mock menus all the time. And, it wasn't until probably my early 20s that I got into the service industry. And so I don't know where it came from because I'm sorry, Mom, but she was never that great of a cook. And so, I would always have, the spaghetti and meatballs and things like that.
Sure.
But I do remember one of my childhood best friends, his father was a chef. And so we would come home after school and just, again, sorry, Mom, completely destroy the kitchen, making these concoctions of whatever food we found in the refrigerator. And so I would say food has always kind of been a passion of mine. It's definitely in the catering business, a labor of love, because you got to love it if you're going to
right. Make 300 crackers with salmon with a, mint.
Yes, exactly. It's very tedious, but I love it. And, obviously.
Were you good in math?
No, I would say more English, but
But creatively,
yes,
you found your muse in food.
Absolutely, yes.
I love that. Now, just what about living in the South and Southeast? Did you, in that part of Florida, were you exposed to a certain kind of Caribbean food and kind of the flavors of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, the South? I mean, anyone who travels to that region, if they're not into food, they're missing out because people take their food pretty seriously down south.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have the Southern style, which is, the heavy fried foods and the collard greens with the ham hocks. And then you have Cuban food. So you have the plantains and the yellow rice and the black beans and
the pulled pork.
And the pulled pork.
Cuban pork is different than what you're going to get up 100%. Down south, right?
And then, of course, barbecue, too, which I know it's not. Florida isn't considered, Texas or the Carolinas when it comes to barbecue, but we do have good barbecue down there as well. So.
Well, that's for sure. I've traveled. I went to school in North Carolina at Wake Forest, and then as I've traveled, there's a lot of competition across the Southeast on who's got the best pulled pork, and there's even folks who won't even include beef when they talk about barbecue. It's I remember asking some friends when I was in college, I said, are we going to have a barbecue this Friday? And they're like, no, we're cooking out. And I had to learn that there's a difference. If you say barbecue, it is definitively something in the South.
Yes.
Cooking out is anything else.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, that is my lingo. I say barbecue. I'm barbecue and everything. So.
Right. Now, tell me, I'm very interested in this fishing side of your life. Have you found a way to bring your expertise in growing up fishing and diving to your catering here in Arizona?
It's very few and far between, just because we are in a landlocked state.
Sure.
I will say whenever I do more customized dinners, say it's like a wine pairing dinner, for example, then I will showcase more of that stuff within that. But in my day-to-day menus, I don't typically incorporate that much seafood. Seafood is very difficult because, one, it can be overcooked really quickly. And it's just, we're in a meat and potatoes town too. So I kind of want to appeal to the demographic.
Yeah, that's very smart. Well, we're going to take a quick break here and thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Marcy Clark of Gingerly Catering.
Since 1995, Helkin & Horn Ad Agency has helped local businesses stand out and succeed. From print and radio to websites and social media, their talented team crafts your brand's message and offers a plan to get it out into the community. Want results backed by over 30 years of experience? Visit azadagency.com today. Helkin & Horn, where their slogan is Be Known.
History matters. For nearly 100 years, the Sharlot Hall Museum has preserved our community's story, and over at Findlay Toyota, they believe in that same legacy of trust and reliability. That's why we're proud they support us here at the Sharlot Hall Museum. Just as Toyota has a long history of building vehicles you can depend on, Findlay is committed to our community's future. Go see their amazing selection of new and used Toyotas. Experience a legacy of quality for yourself. Findlay Toyota on Willow Creek Road in Prescott.
Welcome back to Sharlot Hall Museum on Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook. My special guest today is Mercy Clark of Gingerly Catered. I was reminded gingerlycateredaz.com is where you can learn all about Mercy Clark's business here in Prescott. So we talked a little bit about, in the previous segment, about your adventurous decision to leave Florida and go to the West Coast, go to California. Were you going to go to California to be in the movies, to be in television, to learn to cook, to go to college? What brought you to the West Coast and then the bounce back to Prescott?
Well, I don't think there's really anything that exciting about bringing me there. The reasoning I left Florida to go to California is I had a good friend at the time who left Florida to go to California. And they approached me and they asked, if I would be interested in joining them out there. And, there's a big wide world out there. And of course, I would like to see it. And I had never been, I don't think at that time, west of, Louisiana. So yeah, it was a great opportunity to see, what the United States has to offer. The West Coast is completely different than the East Coast.
So did you drive out west? Did you hit the road?
I did. I took the 10 all the way across. I thought that I could take Texas in one day. I was sorely wrong.
It's a long drive across the state of Texas. That's one of Houston to Las Cruces is my record day.
Oh boy.
And no, it's nearly impossible to make Texas in a day.
Yeah.
And so were you headed to Los Angeles, San Diego? Where'd you end up?
So I landed in Long Beach.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yep.
So near the ocean.
Yep. Absolutely.
Ocean to ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Great. That's a great beach town. And with the port there and people from all over the world making Long Beach their home and trying to make a new beginning there. Mm-hmm. But a far cry from the palm tree lanes of Stuart, Florida.
Absolutely. I was hoping that the weather would be great there, but it was really humid in Long Beach as well. So
Long Beach, and people, it's not as humid as Florida,
mm-hmm. but
the sun and the combination of just the way the ocean rolls in the morning with the fog, and then it burns off, mm-hmm. and it's very Mediterranean in Long Beach.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. And so you said you were only there for a few months, but then you had friends here in Prescott. Big change between Long Beach and Prescott.
Yeah, a little bit of a change. Coming from a small town and moving to seemingly a city was definitely an adjustment for me. I realized really quickly that I'm not a city person, mm-hmm. and I never will be. I like to see the stars at night and, hear the critters. And so living in the city has its perks, obviously. You have the amenities. But yeah, immediately, it was a great experience, but immediately I knew this isn't going to last very long. So.
And Long Beach is a real crossroads of the whole Los Angeles basin.
Yes.
It's a very busy city, and I know some people who grew up in Long Beach and very dedicated to their community. They've watched it change over the last 50, 60 years. But we're glad that you landed here in Prescott. So, again, restaurant business, catering, was it something you just happened upon, or did you start working for someone and then decide, I think I can do this myself?
Yeah, so I would say initially in the service industry, I started in the bar side of mm-hmm. things. So I started as a bartender and then moved on to bar management. And then right before the C word happened, COVID, I was in a relationship, and his family recruited me to open a restaurant with them. And so we opened, I want to say, in February. And then COVID hit in March.
Oh my God, that's awful.
So that was my first kind of experience with immersing myself in the kitchen and getting that commercial experience, mm-hmm. I would say.
Right.
So.
And so when did you found Gingerly Catered?
I started the company in September of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not to, just and so did you start, did you have any idea or a base of how you were going to develop this business, or what would be some signature dishes, or, how your service would be different from other people?
Well, I mean, over the years, I just had the experience. I don't know if I did this intentionally or if it just kind of happened, but over the years, I would start these new jobs that were also new businesses, and I would help them build up their business. And so I just thought, if I can help someone else start their business and make it a success, then I should be able to do it myself.
Right.
And so that's kind of the gist behind it. And the catering, at the time I was managing a kitchen, and one of my employees approached me and asked if I would be interested in helping them cater an event that they had been asked to do. And so him and I did this event, and after the event, I was like, you know what, we could do this for real, and I'll get all the licensing and the permits and the insurance, and so we did, and that's kind of how it developed.
Right. So. And when did you say it was founded?
September of 2023.
Oh, so you're coming up on a 3-year anniversary this fall.
I am, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about how you came up with the name of your business.
So, long story long. No. So initially I had a business partner, and he is naturally a ginger-haired person.
Thumbs up on that.
Yeah. I always dye my hair this color because it looks good with my skin tone. And so he actually came up with the name, and I always loved, a play, like clever play on words. That's
right.
how I always developed my menus. And so I was like, okay, let's run with it. And so we did. And then, unfortunately, him and I didn't last very long. He left about March of 24. So, I just at that time decided to maintain the name. And so,
well, I think it's a great name. I think gingers need to stick together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so here in Prescott, when you go out there and you're looking for business or you're developing your businesses, have you started to develop menus that reflect our community and Arizona foods and locally raised food? And we're going to take a break here in a minute. So, but just touch on that a little bit. How have you developed your menu here? Is it from what your customers are asking for, or are you creating things that will fit the area?
I think it's kind of a little bit of both. I do get requests on different things, and then just based on the area, like I'll go to different restaurants and I'll see a menu item and it gets my wheels turning on what I could potentially offer. And then, I just, based on the demographic, like I said, I kind of try to incorporate items that I think will go over well with the people that live here. I know there's a lot of transplants like me too. So I know there's a lot of Californians, so I know that they like certain things. And
right.
So, as far as that's concerned, I just, whatever, and then I'll pay attention to what, people order all the time. So I'll keep those on the menu. And if it's not getting ordered, then I'll replace it with something else. So it's just a constant.
Right. All right. So. Well, let's take a quick break. Thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back with Marcy Clark of Gingerly Catered.
For over 45 years, Blind Brothers Arizona has been the heart of window style in Prescott. From blinds, shutters, drapes, they custom design and install with the expert precision. Tailored to you, whether for your home or office. Trust the name locals rely on. Visit blindbrothersaz.com today or call 928-776-1845 for a free consultation. Blind Brothers Arizona, the original since 1979.
Looking for the perfect gift? Visit the Bashford House gift shop on the grounds of Sharlot Hall Museum. No admission required, just walk right up. Explore unique, locally made treasures, a wide selection of history books, and so much more. Located in the historic Bashford House, it's the perfect stop for history buffs, gift shoppers, and curious tourists alike. Visit today and take home a gift they'll cherish.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum. And my special guest is Marcy Clark of Gingerly Catered. And we were just talking in the break a little bit about how regions in the country will inspire you to move. I've moved back and forth across the country for a couple of reasons. And, I've lived in Baltimore. I've lived in Tidewater, Virginia, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And you mentioned that you had hoped someday to live in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is known as a culinary center of America. Lots happening up there with restaurants. Have you gone up to San Francisco and since you moved out west and come back with some ideas for your catering?
Yeah, I've actually been to San Francisco several times now. I don't think it's a dream of mine anymore because, like we touched on, I don't think a city life is for me. But yes, I love traveling and I love experiencing the culinary arts of where each area has to offer and how it differs. And again, it gets my wheels turning and how I can influence it and bring it back here.
Right.
So, yeah.
So my son is will be 30 this year, and he just traveled to Japan. Jeb did. And when he came back, he mentioned the fact that as he traveled, he tried a lot of food, and his interest in trying food was inspired by a childhood watching Anthony Bourdain. Mm-hmm. And growing up in Florida, and you talked about your adventurous side, mm-hmm. being in diving, and were there any of those kinds of shows as a kid? You're like, wow, I want to do that.
I love Anthony Bourdain. I used to watch him all the time. So touching base back on the diving, I worked at this dive shop for 6 years, and we had a lobster mini season that we would do every year. And it was a weekend prior to this actual season opening up. And so we would be there until midnight filling people's dive tanks. And so I started, which they still do today, a tradition. And so I decided I was going to make all of us dinner since we're working this long weekend together. Right. And the one guy who still works there and manages the place, he still does it every year for them. So it was a cool tradition to be able to do. And I'm glad that the manager let us do it. But I schlepped my grill over and grilled everybody chicken and made veggies. And so it was great. And then people would bring us stuff all the time, too, whether it was they would bring us hogfish or they would just give us an extra lobster that they didn't want, and we would throw that on the grill. So
how fun is that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's, I think that all of us find different levels of inspiration that we then incorporate into our lives and our careers. And was there anyone that you met while you were growing up there in Florida that you think about and that you try to incorporate? Maybe there was again, it sounds like from your fishing days, you definitely have found some inspiration. Anthony Bourdain, I think, is great inspiration for all of us to venture out and learn more about the world and all the people and the way they live and immerse yourself in their culture.
Absolutely.
And so it sounds like, was there anyone else there in Florida that you met while you were growing up that has inspired some of your styles of cooking?
My uncle used to, every holiday, he would, smoke a brisket. Uh-huh. And so it was just such a process. As you know, briskets take, long hours to make. And so I think he's one of the reasons why I love, smoking meats myself. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. And it's just, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just, I love it very much,
So do you find yourself here in Prescott feeling like we got a little bit of a renaissance creatively in food service here in the Prescott area, restaurants and restaurateurs? Do you think there's a lot of little buzz going around? What's going to be the new restaurant? What's the new food? Or, you are competitive in that marketplace. And so do you find that it's where you've got a little bit of a foodie town happening here?
I think it's grown tremendously, especially since I've moved here. It's nice to see the variety that's coming to town. Mm-hmm. For a long time, it just seemed like the same, 3 or 4 different cuisines. And so now I noticed that we have, I think, a new Filipino restaurant, not in Prescott per se, but Prescott Valley. So that's kind of cool. And I saw that a Cajun restaurant is coming to town. And,
okay.
And so, yeah, it's great.
Is there a new Vietnamese restaurant coming to, I thought I saw one advertised down on Gurley, not too far from the plaza.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know there's a Vietnamese pho place over off of, I want to say Miller or Grove Street.
Okay.
So, yeah, we do have a little bit more of a variety, which is great. I love, a smorgasbord to choose from. So
Right. So this year, coming up on your anniversary, you're developing some new things for your menu that people can anticipate, or surprises if they wanted to hire you, that they would say, "Oh, can you do this or you do that?" Have you ever had any like total surprises where you're like, "Wow, I could try to do that"?
yeah, so I'm constantly changing my menu with the seasons, or like I said, if I'm noticing that something isn't being ordered, then I'm just going to remove it. So that's one of the things I love, but I also am adamant on letting people know that if they want something more custom or have an idea in mind, then we can certainly do that as well. Because that's the fun side of it, the creative side of it, is being able to curate this menu for this specific event. And so that's where the fun comes in. So.
Yeah. So what's the largest event that you've ever done?
The largest event to date I've ever done is 250 people.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was, yes.
And was it mostly small, appetizer size food, or did you, have to put on a banquet, or, tell me about that.
This one in particular was a dinner for a wedding. It was at a big church, and it was a lot of people. So, if it was 250 people with a bunch of hors d'oeuvres, it would have been more work entailed, but luckily it was dinner, so it was a little simpler to do, I guess. But
Sure. Now, have you ever been hired for craft service or been the chef for a film or television or even advertising?
No, actually, I haven't. That would be interesting if that were to ever be the case, but no.
Well, I've worked in the television and film business, and, one aspect of an advertising, that side of the business, is the caterer. And that there's not a film or a movie or a TV show, for the most part, that doesn't have a caterer on set. And it's quite a little unique niche.
Yeah.
But if you watch the credits on film and television, you will always see the caterer.
Oh, I've never noticed that they're
Yeah.
mentioned at the end.
And craft service is at the other end, because, there's a lot of hurry up and wait in the film business. And the craft service is there with the right snacks and the right water. And I worked on a film with Lindsay Wagner and John Larroquette and Carol O'Connor. This is like 1986. And she was the first actress or person that I ever met that she liked to have Evian water. That was her. And you would ask the director and the actresses, the principals, is there a special snack that you would like on set? They could come by and get a little cheese, or maybe it was some kind of candy or snack they liked. And then, of course, the catering was the key to keeping the crew happy.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes you were working late at night or very early in the morning.
Well, it's easy to get hangry, that's for sure.
That's exactly right. Well, we're going to take one more break here and come back and talk more about Gingerly Catered with Mercy Clark.
Well, Stuart and Mercy, oh, I love your name. This has truly been a tasty treat of information, education, entertainment, and just great human interest stories. I love it all. My name is Stan, and I'm the one who has the privilege of producing this program through the Cowboy Spirit Storytelling Company. And I would just simply like to let you know that this program is brought to you by the Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona, a wonderful place that is really going and growing in influence. And we encourage you to come to the mile-high city of Prescott, Arizona, and make sure you enjoy the city, enjoy the businesses and the people here, but make sure that you stop in at the charlottehallmuseum.org. And coming up on the 2nd of May, this will be a special dedication and admission-free day. There's a new statue that has been created of Sharlot Hall, one of the true pioneers and women pioneers of the great territory and then state of Arizona. And that's going to be a special celebration. And of course, a celebration means there's good things to eat and good things to do and entertainment and education all combined. So make sure that you put that on your calendar. And we will see you again next week on the program, but we've still got more to go. So Stuart and Mercy, what else is new on this wonderful program?
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum. My special guest today has been Mercy Clark of Gingerly Catered at gingerlycateredaz.com. And in this last segment, I thought we would move to two things that we haven't talked about yet, dessert and drinks. And so I have enjoyed many of your appetizers and your desserts here at Sharlot Hall Museum. You've catered many of our events, many of our Twilight Tales. You probably have a couple of Twilight Tales scheduled for upcoming here in May and June. Is that right?
I do, yes, yep.
And it's going to be great having you here. People look forward to your wonderful delights that you have set up when people come here for our Twilight Tales. And the desserts. Are you a sweet person? Are you a sweet person and do you like sweets? I think you are a sweet person. And do you like sweets?
I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth. Now I bake a lot more nowadays, but I wouldn't say baking is something that I love to do. One of the things I love about cooking is, you kind of measure with your heart.
Sure.
Whereas baking, it's, I have to stop what I'm doing, read the recipe. Oh no, was that tablespoon or teaspoon? Let me read it again and stop what I'm doing. So it's a little bit more tedious and time consuming. And so I've had a little bit more fun with it recently, but I would say it's not my favorite aspect of
But no one complains if there's an extra tablespoon or half a cup of chocolate chips in there, do they?
Yeah, I don't measure those, and I don't measure vanilla because vanilla's the garlic of baking. So.
Right. And no one's ever complained that, I think there was too many chocolate chips in that cookie.
Absolutely. They counted. They're like, wait a minute, there's only supposed to be 5.
I made chocolate chip cookies in the bar for them for my kids after my mom's recipe many years. And they were like, yeah, those are real chocolatey. And I'm like, well, yeah, I just figured there was a little bit more left in the bag when I put them all in there.
Yeah.
They were more like brownies than they were cookies. But, and you also mentioned earlier that you have had some experience in viniculture and with wines. Mm-hmm. So have you found yourself becoming more sophisticated with when you're doing, let's say, catering an event where you are involved with the wines? Have you started pairing wines or meads or ales at your parties along with your food that you provide?
Yeah, so I've done several parties over the years that are specifically wine pairing or cocktail pairing or beer pairing dinners. I find, though, that having gone to viticulture and enology, that it has allowed me with my palate to be able to pinpoint exactly what I need in dishes. So whether it needs more acid or it needs more sugar or any of those things, because in those classes you kind of focused on those aspects within the wine too. So then it kind of trained my brain in every aspect of anything that I intake, that I'm like, oh, this is kind of flat, or this could use a little, brightness with acid. So it's been I love doing those parties. Those are some of my favorite parties to do.
And that's the subtle part of pairing foods with wines or ales or cocktails that the customer doesn't even understand. It's it's the magic behind the scenes. And we have a magical event coming up here in May, Sharlot Cellar.
Yes.
Now, have you been involved with Sharlot Cellar for a couple of years?
I did it last year.
Yeah. And are you going to be involved this year at Sharlot Cellar on May 16th?
I am, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about Sharlot Cellar. Again, we're coming to the dessert of the show. We know you're going to be involved with our upcoming Twilight Tales, and people come back time and time again to those Twilight Tales events here, fundraisers for the museum, where we have entertainments and music, but a culmination of kind of that celebration of our community, a fundraiser for the museum, where we bring the culinary arts paired with wines and beer and mead and mocktails here on the campus. Tell us a little bit about why that's a special evening for yourself and for restaurateurs here in Prescott on May 16th?
I think it's a fabulous event. One, it's a huge fundraiser for you guys, so it's great for you. And it also helps showcase different businesses around town, which I think is great. It's a great community event. And it allows us to showcase different items. I'm actually doing 2 booths this year.
Wonderful.
So I believe I'll be with I want to say Lazy G and Southwest Wine Center. So I'll be doing beer and wine. So it allows us to showcase something that we offer, and it allows us to pair and go well with what the wine or the beer is offering. So It's a great combination, and it's a lot of fun. I loved working it last year. So
are you going to tease us a little bit about what you're coming up with? You got to wait to find out when you arrive here at Sharlot Cellar. And tickets are still available, although they're selling out. Sharlot Cellar, you can go to charlottehallmuseum.org to get your tickets, and it's limited to 300. So it's a very exclusive night, raising money for the museum, and tickets are $125 a person. And we feel so grateful here for the partnership with restaurateurs like yourself here in Prescott. So any teas you can give us? Or are you secretly working up your recipes?
I think we'll just be pleasantly surprised when we arrive.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Any little southern or south coast or anything you can tease us with that you might be, or maybe you're developing your own style, some kind of Southwest meets the Southeast.
Well, I will say my mother is born and raised in Buffalo, New York. So that's all I'll say.
Okay. Say no more. Say no more. I love it. That's great. And any upcoming news that people should know about, that your new things that you're offering with your business right now, going into the busy season of spring and summer here in Prescott?
I don't think so. I mean, we are going into the busy season. Aside from that, my 3-year anniversary is coming up in September, and I do anticipate having a party for it, because last year, my 2-year just kind of blew by. I was so busy with work that I didn't even realize until it was a month later.
Right.
And so this year I have put it in my calendar, and I do anticipate inviting, previous clients, anyone that wants to come. I'll offer food, drinks, that sort of thing, just to kind of celebrate this milestone that I've, reached. So
right. And how far in advance are you booked out? So if someone's listening to the show today, they're checking out your website at gingerlycateredaz.com. I'm sure you're really busy. How far in advance do you need to be booked?
Well, I mean, this time of year, it just varies. I mean, I have events all the way through December right now. So it's really just dependent on what dates you're looking for. As always, planning is better. A lot of people like myself procrastinate. But yeah, I would say 2 to 3 months in advance is probably ideal. And then when we get around September and the holidays, then you probably should be booking that now.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched so many television shows and films out there. They just make you hungry watching them, and they just love incorporating food into the atmosphere. And I'm sure every chef has their comfort food, right? Mm-hmm. It's a long day. You've been working hours and hours, and you finally have time to cook something for yourself, or you go out for a good meal. What's your comfort food?
I think I usually gear towards like a Thai food. So I love a good papaya salad with some fried spring rolls or egg rolls even. And yeah, I like Thai, and then of course, like I said, barbecue. I like a good barbecue pork sandwich. So
well, maybe we need to have a barbecue event sometime here at Sharlot Hall Museum. A little barbecue cook-off of some kind.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be a lot of fun. Yes, I love open fire cooking. So
all right, well, let's leave it there with the tease that maybe in the future we will have a barbecue cook-off inspired by Mercy Clark at Gingerly Catered, and we'll bring the barbecue to the campus and find out who's really's got the smoke and the heat. Well, thank you, Mercy, for being part of the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you very much for listening this week to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum.